Welcome to the production house. I'm Bruce May.
And I'm Gary Parker, and we're glad to have you back.
Yeah, we're here today to talk about another film. We review some of the greatest movies ever made in the past, all the way up to the present. Today, we're going to talk about Rainman, which was made in 1988. It was produced by Mark Johnson. Barry Levinson was the director, and you probably remember Dustin Hoffman played an autistic savant, probably one of his greatest performances in any movie, and I think that's the thing that everybody fell in love with. But his brother Tom Cruise played the other main character, and when it starts out, Tom Cruise doesn't even know he has a brother. So I don't know if you want it. Should we jump into the plot and just go through that?
Yeah, we can give a little bit of the plot.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay.
So Tom Cruise is a high stakes foreign car importer out in L.A. and living a big life, and he is kind of lives from car sale to car sale. He's a little bit on the edge, and he gets notice that his dad died. Not very excited about it, In fact, it comes at a bad time. He's like, I don't even know if I want to go to the funeral. And his girlfriend, who serves a great character in the movie, she doesn't have a huge role, but she's a great mirror for Tom's character.
Yeah.
Throughout the movie. And so Tom goes back to the funeral, which he's, unhappy about. He has no idea he has a brother. And at the reading of the will, he finds out that his dad had several $1 million, right?
Three,
Okay. And
a car,
and
the
a car.
Roadmaster. We say that's the famous trip in the film, is in the Roadmaster.
Yeah, which is a cool car.
It is a super cool car.
And so Tom gets the car, and his brother gets the $2.9999 million bucks.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was a rift between Tom's character is named Charlie, so it's Charlie and Raymond, and Charlie literally ran away from home when he was 16 because he took the car out he'd made like almost straight A's, and he said, can I drive the car? And his dad said no. Well, he snuck it out anyway, and his dad called the police and didn't say my son stole my car. He said my car was stolen. So the police pull him over, arrest him, and then his dad just leaves him in jail for like 2 days, and he said that's it. So he leaves, and you don't know why at that point. So I thought, that's probably the most interesting plot in the film is, what was that all about?
Yeah.
And that mystery, you just kind of figure it out as you go along. But at that point, that's all Tom knows, and just discovered he has a brother, but doesn't know anything about him or even where he is. So he has to figure that out on his own and discover that he's at a institution, and he doesn't know till he gets there that he is an autistic savant with an incredible memory for amazing feats of unbelievable things. So then he goes there, and the doctor, turns out, that's taking care of him at the institution is the trustee for the estate. And he says, well, I'm sorry, I know you lost out, but that's just tough, and you can leave now. I don't really want to have anything to do with you. So Tom goes, okay, well, if that's your attitude, I'm just going to take my brother with me. So he, quote, kidnaps him.
Yeah.
But it's not really a kidnapping because Raymond goes along, and they are brothers, so you can't really get him arrested. It ends up creating a conflict, and Tom, through phone calls back and forth, says that he was going to sue him in court to gain custody. So that's the conflict that's set up, and it didn't resolve until the very end of the movie.
Yeah.
But then the road trip turns out to be really what the movie's all about, and the relationship between the two, which at the beginning is really, Tom doesn't have any feelings for this guy at all. He's irritated that he got all the money, doesn't really like him, and doesn't know how to even communicate with the guy because the guy doesn't communicate. He's just rambles on all the time, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing is the conflict with the girlfriend. She doesn't like what he's doing and ditches him because he's mistreating his brother in the process, right? Yeah. And calls him out for being a user and, self-centered, arrogant guy, which at that point he really is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But go ahead.
Well, and I think anyone in his situation would have questioned why his brother got $3 million and he got a car, especially being kind of the mover shaker type of guy that he was. But what I loved most about this movie was the growth on all the characters. Tom Cruise grows a lot, learning the responsibility of being a good brother, how to take care of a special needs person like Dustin Hoffman. And Dustin Hoffman, Rainman, really grows through his experience out with Tom, something he would have never gotten in the hospital. And so that's what I think is the brilliance of it, that these two guys grow so much together through the course of this movie. And the doctor learns something, the girlfriend learns something, definitely Tom and Raymond, Charlie and Raymond, sorry,
right,
Tom Cruise's character,
Yeah.
Definitely grow, and it's very worth taking the trip with
Right.
them.
Yeah, you know, the emotional growth for Charlie is the significant thing in the movie, and you can see that transformation. So Tom Cruise probably is undercredited in all the reviews. I mean, Dustin Hoffman stole the show. That's obvious, and you know, I think. But the movie wouldn't have even made any sense if it wasn't for that transformation. And at the end, you know, he actually really falls in love with his brother. Maybe the first time he's ever fallen in love with anybody, except his girlfriend comes back. And so they, you know, I mean, his whole life is transformed as a result of this.
He understands what's important.
But the best thing, I think, about the whole film is when we find out who the Rainman is. Because at the beginning of the movie, Tom says to his girlfriend that was an imaginary friend he had.
Right.
And then they finally figures out he was Rainman because he mispronounced his name Raymond, right?
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the movie, we won't give it all away. But there's a scene, a pivotal scene, when all that kind of comes together in a motel.
Yeah.
And even more significantly, it's revealed why Raymond had to go away. And I tracked the years. So Charlie was born in '62, and Raymond was put away in '65. So Charlie was 3 years old. Something happened that made his dad put Rainman in an institution. Yeah. And I think that was the underlying reason, although it's not stated clearly in the script. I think that's the underlying reason why the relationship between Charlie and his dad was never good.
Right.
Because I think his dad held that, or blamed Charlie for that.
Sure.
And, you know, Charlie never understood that. In fact, his main complaint was to the doctor, neither my dad or you ever told me I even had a brother. So there are some holes in the script if you watch it carefully, but it is a great film. It's the biggest box office movie of that year. Won Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor for Dustin Hoffman, Best Screenplay. The only time I think Barry Levinson won for Best Director of any of the films he's made, which you can look. There's some good ones there.
So had Tom won anything to that point?
No, I don't think so. This is really early in his career. He's really young, right? And I meant to check to see what he'd made before this, but it wasn't much. There were a few. He was really, really young in this movie, and I wish I could tell you what he made before this point. But this was a big film for him. Dustin Hoffman was still a huge star,
right? And
it really elevated both their careers.
Yeah, I'd be curious about that. And, you know, as we try to kind of give you some insight into the world of filmmaking, and Bruce is the screenwriter in the family, but that big reveal about who Raymond is, if you check your timing, if you go back and rewatch it, about plot point 2, almost midway to the minute of the film is where that big reveal is, because it changes certainly Charlie's look at things. He all of a sudden he has a lot of empathy for his brother and why his brother was institutionalized, and really from that point on wants to make his brother's life better. It's not about the money anymore.
And take note of the other changes in the film from a filmmaker's point of view. The music dramatically changes. It goes very upbeat. And the photography suddenly becomes, cinematographic, gorgeous, right? So you really feel that come across in a big way. It's a fun movie to watch.
Yeah. Right after that, they go to Vegas, which is, I always love Vegas scenes. I always love the way filmmakers portray Vegas. And I just watched a piece of 3,000 Miles to Graceland a couple of days ago, just the opening scene, which is about a bunch of guys that go rob a casino. That's got Kurt Russell and Kevin Costner in it. Totally different thing, but the way they portray Vegas and their Charlie and Raymond's trip to Vegas is especially fun in this particular movie. It's one of the high points of the movie. I think it's not just about going to Vegas. It's a transformation of who they are.
Right. And if anybody that does like to go to Vegas, you definitely enjoy the scene because they make a lot of money at playing 21.
And for me, most of the time I go to Vegas, I'm working, and I don't gamble and I don't drink. And so I enjoy the scenery. You cannot get better people watching on the planet as far as I've seen so far in Vegas. I mean, it is a mecca of just people from all over the planet coming to a place to just have fun and forget who they are for a week. And the architecture, between the people and the architecture, I think it's one of the funnest places to ever go, just for that aspect. If you like to gamble and drink, then heck, it's got everything.
It's fun watching the pit boss and all the guys upstairs on all the cameras trying to figure out how they're cheating, and they can't figure it out. And they go, "There's nobody can do a 6-deck card count. That's impossible."
Yeah, it's fun to watch.
It's fun to watch.
Well, we're about done with this segment.
Yeah, but we're going to tie it into the next one because we're going to keep talking about filmmaking.
There you go.
Right.
We have a guest coming up we're real excited to share with you, so we'll be right back.
Stay with us.
Thank you.
Hi, we're back. I'm Bruce May with Gary Parker, and we have a special guest with us today. This is Tracy Brandon. She's Director of Strategic Partnerships for the Indie Films Foundation. And as you know, we've told you in the past, Gary and I are the co-founders of Indie Films Foundation, which is where and why we have such a passion for films. But we want to talk with Tracy today about something we have going on this summer that's very special. This is our first summer school. It's good for high school students and adults, and we're just getting it launched. It's coming up very quick. You don't have much time.
No, in fact, it starts the week of June 14th.
Right. So if you want to get involved, you need to go to iffschool.com and register and join us right here at our studios, and we're going to teach you all about filmmaking.
Yeah, we're very, very blessed to have Tracy join the team at Indie Films Foundation. She brings a wealth of information, a wealth of experience that will really help do what we want to do. She's helping us with the school side to grow that, and she's also helping us with the fundraising for our first movie, Shattered Lives. So we're really excited to have her here. Tracy, tell us a little bit about where you came from, the music industry and so forth, and how you ended up here.
Oh, well, I mean, I just have a lot of, I guess, years of promoting music and independent Texas music. I've run several concert series, done some booking on the band side as well as booking venues. So I have a lot of knowledge on that end, and I'm still doing a little bit of that in here in Conroe. but I met you guys and was happy to come aboard, and thank you for bringing me on. Really appreciate that, and I feel that with my marketing background and even I have a contractual background too. I think that it will really help kind of promote y'all into the next level.
It's kind of funny how you get a little taste of the entertainment business in any shape, fashion, or form. It just draws you in more and more.
That is true.
Yeah. Tracy has a really good corporate background, which can be very helpful to us because we're mostly film guys and entertainment media guys. So that's going to be very helpful.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. I have a long background in procurement and contracts management, supply chain. So I'd like to bring that expertise to the foundation and leverage that knowledge that I have of being in the corporate world to be able to attract those corporate sponsors for the foundation.
That's going to be priceless. So thank you for joining our team.
Thanks for having me.
Let's tell people a little bit about the film school and what they'll learn if you join this summer. Join us here at our studios right here.
Yeah, well, I think that you guys put together just a really well-rounded course work for these students. So anywhere. So we kind of begin the course with just basic production work, learning about what kind of goes into the filmmaking process in general. And then kind of weeks 2 and 3 go into sound and lighting and screenwriting. And then you really round it off with going into learning how to actually direct and edit the films, and then writing both kind of a documentary or filming a documentary and also filming just a non-fictional film. And then what I think is really cool what will be really cool for all the students, the course ends after 6 weeks. It's a 6 weeks course with the film students actually get to show the product. So
they'll be working on a class project.
Right.
Yeah. So there's really, 2 basic paths you can take as a filmmaker. You can do documentary films or fictional films, and we'll cover both.
Right.
And it's, we're going to have a complete film school we're launching this fall, 3 semesters, full film courses, 5 film courses every semester. And so if you get involved in that, you really will be learning everything there is in the industry. But this summer film course is going to teach you enough that you'll be able to complete a project and also start working on your own films if that's what you're interested in doing.
So I think it's going to be fun.
I think it will be fun for students too, and it's not just kind of a cursory. It's we're putting a lot of hours into it. 6 weeks, 8 hours a week for the students. So it's a lot of it's a lot of work that y'all are doing, and I think it's great. Everybody should really enjoy it.
Yeah, and what's really unique about our film school and even this one summer film class, we're a real production studio. So we're in the process in pre-production on 2 movies right now and 1 documentary. And we also do multiple television shows. We work in film and television. So there's a lot of opportunities, not just to learn about it theoretically, but we're focused on what is the practical aspects. How do you really do this? So we'll be teaching in the studios, using real equipment, lights, just like we're filming this show. And I think that's the strength of what we're doing is, as opposed to film schools, which I don't want to knock film schools, but in contrast, they're more theoretical and we're more hands-on. And that's, if you want to see, especially for the summer film course, if you want to get a sense or just understand how films are really made, you'll get it this summer.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, you have everything that you need here in the studio, and it's not just a classroom. It's definitely studio work and workshops.
And so if you want more information about the film school, or you want to register, or you want to register your grandchildren or your children or somebody.
Or yourself.
Yeah.
Or even if you're in a film school and you just want to do something more interesting and fun in the industry, just come hang out with us.
Yeah. So the words will magically appear at the bottom there.
How do we do that?
IFF.
A magic wand?
We will teach you how do we do that. IFFschool.com, and go to the summer film course, and that gives you all the information. And if for some reason you've got a vacation plan, you go, I'd love to do this, but I've got vacation coming up, do not worry, because we will have this online for you as well, so you can pick up a class if you miss one during vacation.
So don't interrupt your vacation.
Yeah, don't change your vacation, but don't not take the course.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We got you covered either way.
All right, so we'll be back in just a minute to talk to Tracy about what she thought about Rainman.
Oh, good question.
Oh, wow.
And let's talk a little bit about road pictures, because this is one of those classic road pictures. So
Yeah.
I have some little tidbit to throw in about that.
Okay, cool.
Come back.
Be sure and join us and check out the film school.
Right. It's all about storytelling.
I'm Gary Parker,
And I'm Bruce May.
and we're the co-founders of the Indie Films Foundation.
You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Every good film begins with a good story.
It's signed by the leading co-stars and by James Cameron. When the story opens, we see Rose boarding the Titanic with her fiancé, a wealthy American. If you lose them, they're gone, right? So you've got to get them engaged and keep them engaged.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Think about the film like the original Jurassic Park. With the dinosaurs obviously not currently living, we're only left to assume what they sound like.
This course is designed for the first-time producer interested in learning how to produce a short film or documentary. Film is a visual media. Stories told on film focus on images and actions.
His spirit had the strength to hold his family together.
To us all.
Then her eyes need to be on that top third line of your frame, okay? And she needs to be to either one side or the other side.
We all have something to learn. A major perk to being in this industry is creative freedom. Everyone has different ideas, and to have so many creative individuals come together can be such an artistic outlet and make you feel great about your craft.
I must admit, I didn't think much of Andy the first time I laid eyes on him. He had
Two major kinds of producers. There are executive producers and line producers. An executive producer may be a studio head or simply the person who is financing a single film.
A good director needs a certain set of skills. You must be authoritative.
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
Documentaries, if you ever start looking at them, ever start taking an interest in them, are some of the best filmmaking available.
I knew I had found another passion that I was burning.
Be ready to rock and roll.
That is what you're going to see here at this type of light. As you can see, it's a very, very bright light. Tungsten lights range between about 1,000 to 1,500 watts.
I guess it's important to emphasize the idea behind our school is that it's very hands-on.
By working with things like this, working in an amazing studio like this, and with some great people on some awesome opportunities. If you're interested in this, go to iffschool.com. We'll see you there.
Welcome back. We're here with Tracy Brandon, the Director of Strategic Partnerships for the Indie Films Foundation. And Gary, you had a question?
Yeah, I wanted to bring it back around to Rainman a little bit about what's your favorite part of Rainman as a movie or what you liked about it, and kind of share that with us.
Yeah, well, I really did enjoy the movie. It was great. You talked about the character growth and everything, and the road trip. That was great. But one of my favorite parts of the movie is just kind of the inner workings of Rainman's brain, and how that I've always been fascinated with that, and how he was able to remember and count cards and remember the facts and that he did, and I just thought that was really neat. And then my family has a friend who's very similar to Rainman. He can remember. It plays into my love of music because he remembers everything from record albums to who produced it, what songs, when it was made, what studio it was made in. So I've that's just always been near and dear to my heart. So
Yeah.
it reminded me of our family friend.
Yeah,
So
that's very cool.
It's
So
very
you have a
fascinating.
connection. You know, it was
Yeah.
very rare when the movie was made. Not too many people knew about it.
Right.
And really, the things he did, like counting 246 toothpicks.
Toothpick.
Right.
Definitely.
And Charlie thought he got it wrong because she said, no, how many were packed? There was 250.
212.
And there was, and then they're walking out, and she says, "Well, there are 4 left in the pack." You know,
Right.
I mean, they illustrated that really well, and that makes the movie fun to watch. You know, there's a lot of famous road movies. I wanted to mention a few just to get stir your memory up. And they go back to 1934 when cars were really cool. You know, you've got Duel. You remember Duel?
Mm-hmm.
That was Spielberg's first movie ever, and it was a made-for-TV movie, but it was so intense, and it really put him on the map. Duel, made in 1971. I'm gonna admit, Easy Rider, 69. You know, that's very classic. It Happened One Night in 1934. I've seen it on TV a lot of times. If you don't know it, and you see it on TV, watch it. It's a great movie. It's a comedy and one of the best. Mad Max. There's so many of them. It's Paris, Texas. I mean, I could go on and on. So I was thinking, why don't you drop us a line and tell us what your favorite road movie is? Let's get
You
some
have a
feedback.
favorite road movie?
I
Put you on the spot. Right
no,
now,
I
TV.
don't. Not that I recall at the moment. So that's yeah.
Do you?
Well, one of them I really enjoyed was one with Charles Grodin and Robert De Niro. And Robert De Niro played a bounty hunter, and he was taking Charles Grodin back to stand trial. It is definitely a road movie, and it's really funny. Charles Grodin was, of course, great, and Robert De Niro played it straight, but was hilarious in it as well. I cannot remember that, but I guarantee it will be on the show by the time you see the show. Okay. But and then Bob Hope and Bing Crosby used to do some road movies, and theirs were involved riding elephants and stuff, but it still was in that genre.
Literally on the road.
Yeah.
On the road.
Can you ask me the question again?
Ask you the question again. Yeah.
Thelma and Louise.
What's your favorite road movie, Tracy?
Well, I really I've always enjoyed Thelma and Louise. And I think that's a good one. And
Are you okay
especially
with the ending?
Why not?
Yeah, why not? What the heck?
If nothing else has worked out in your life,
Yeah,
just
what the heck?
drive yourself off a cliff.
Ever since Hollywood's been Hollywood, we've had cars. So
Yeah.
I mean, we don't appreciate how much they dominate our lives, and that's reflected in these quote road movies.
Yeah, and it's shameless plug for myself. I did a Route 66 documentary in the 90s.
That was a great
And
documentary.
we traveled the old Route 66, which still had the old little motels with the neon signs and
And you
lights
can find that
stuff.
on Amazon, right?
Yes.
Actually,
Or you can contact me and buy it right here. But no, but it was fascinating getting out and meeting the people. And
you literally just got in a car and drove down Highway 66.
pretty much, yeah. That's how we made
which
the
is
documentary.
sometimes now an interstate. Sometimes you get on the old sections.
Yeah.
Kind of got to hunt it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We stopped in Winslow, Arizona, and had everybody sing the song on the corner. We did the guy who wrote the song, Route 66. We put him in the car. He went to California and he sang the song. So it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
It was a fun documentary to do.
Yeah, it brought back memories because my first travels as a kid, in the 60s, all those things were there, and it's iconic, and you're in the Stuckies and you stop and eat there, and it all brings back memories.
It does.
Yeah.
That's good.
So you got a road trip planned this summer?
We don't. I think
Okay.
I think I have my hands full with the Indie Films Foundation.
There you
We've
go.
got a lot of work to do.
One more plea for you guys to, sign up and join us. We guarantee it'll be fun. We guarantee you'll learn a lot.
A lot of exciting things happening with Indie Films Foundation this year. beginning with the summer school and into the fall when we launch the full school, and in with production of the film,
Right.
probably ought to let you know if you do come to school, you're going to be fast-tracked to be involved in the film, either behind or in front of the camera.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing we forgot to mention is that one thing about signing up as a student in the film school is that you do get to make a part of the movies that we're making. So
Yeah.
I think that's really exciting.
So,
But-
Let's go do it.
Okay.
yeah.
Please
Make it
join
happen.
us. Yeah.
Tracy, thank you for being a part of it.
Well, thank you for.
Indie Films
I
Foundation.
appreciate you bringing me on, and
Yeah.
looking forward to doing more with y'all.
Awesome.
Being our
Awesome.
guest. This is the Production House with Bruce May, Gary Parker, and Tracy Brandon.
Thank
Thank you and have a great day.
See you next time.